Hello, folks. Hello. I hope so. You're doing great, great. People are coming. I'm seeing people. Great. Vimal is very excited. Okay, cool, Dheeraj. Hey, Rishita. Hey, Vinayak. Hey, some like I got a fan from Harsh. Cool, cool, cool. So today we are talking about like how to contribute in Mojo Global organization specifically, and how you can start with Hacktoberfest. And to bring out to you, Harsh is here. Dheeraj, welcome back to the on. Let bring on the Harsh on. So hey, Harsh, how are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for bringing me in, Kartike. How are you doing?
I am doing fine, fine. And Harsh and me, again, we are from, you can say community friend, you can say better. I'm always saying community friend because, yeah. So today we talk about open source as always, but I am just thinking of a thought of like, okay, there is going on 101 open source, like in every
Hmm.
community right now. Now the next step we will, how you can find the projects and how you contribute, start contributing to it. And yeah, Harsh can take over from it. Harsh will tell about a little bit about Hacktoberfest and how you can get started with contributing in Mojo Global and other and inside that particular org how you can contribute on those projects. So I'm going all to Harsh. Harsh, take over the stage. Yeah.
Sure. I'm starting my screen share and then we can get started. I hope my screen would be visible in a few seconds. Yes, I guess the theme is quite matching and it is all about Hacktoberfest. So, Hacktoberfest, to be very precise, it is just an open source program that runs for like a month. And we get a lot of opportunity to get started with open source through this particular program. So if you have a look around the various open source programs that are going around you, like there is Google Summer of Code, there is the MLH Fellowship, there is Outreachy, Google Season of Talks, and more, you will notice that there are like you have to basically be at the top of your game if you wish to participate. So majority of these open source programs have some sort of a proposal that would require you to basically get selected into that particular project or organization. And in some other cases, we have particular application process like interviews, application essays, and more of that. But one thing that we fail to acknowledge is that open source is a constant process. It is not tied to any particular uh, open source program or an open source competition. It is something that is happening all around the time. Even if you're sleeping, even if you are working on your regular stuff, you can still be a part of these open source initiatives and you can still contribute to them. And this is the best part about participating in open source. But as you might notice, participating in open source has a definite barrier that you need to cross. So a lot of the beginners are particularly lost when it comes to contributing to open source, and they don't have a very specific idea on why they should contribute to open source or how they can contribute to open source. We all acknowledge that open source is a great thing. It is something that we should be doing to give back to the community, but we don't have a specific path for the same. Majority of the people try to follow a roadmap. So this roadmap might include some generic steps like pick up an issue or raise a pull request out of that, or learn this particular technology stack. But not everyone has the same learning pace. Not everyone has the same growth phase. So this is the reason why it was felt that we particularly need to have a program through which the open source maintainers or the people who are constantly working in the field of open source, they can help the people out to get started with the same. And this is how Hacktoberfest came in. So Hacktoberfest is an initiative specifically by DigitalOcean, but right now it is being sponsored by some other companies like Apprite or Intel and DeepSource. Uh, and this is how Hacktoberfest is helping out the newbies in the open source world. So initially, it started as a very good initiative. People were really liking it, and they had a definite incentive to contribute to open source. So you raise four pull requests, and you will get a T-shirt in return. And recently, due to some spamming and due to some people just doing open source just for the sake of getting T-shirts, Hacktoberfest has slightly changed its orientation. They have made the program more specific to people who like to get started with open source. So you can either opt in for a T-shirt or you can go and plant a tree. DigitalOcean will do that for you. And this is how you can get started with the open source in the same manner. And this year's Hacktoberfest team also helps support open source. So as you might notice, a lot of the open source projects are looking for funding. They're looking for support from people, not just in terms of code or documentation or issue triaging. You can also contribute some or basically fund them in some way or the other. And this is how Hacktoberfest is supporting open source right now throughout the month of October. And yes, you can always choose trees or teas. So you can either choose to plant a tree or you can get a t-shirt for yourself. It is all on your choice. And you can get to know about Hacktoberfest through the website itself, which is on hacktoberfest.digitalocean.com. So there are various ways in which you can engage with the Hacktoberfest. You can either contribute to a few projects. There are a lot of projects right now that are looking for contributors through Hacktoberfest. It would be very easy for you to find those specific projects using the Hacktoberfest label. So you can just go to GitHub, you can search for Hacktoberfest, and you will get to land upon a lot of the projects that are looking for contributors. You can also try to organize some sort of an event. I guess Karthik is doing that. So even that is a great way to contribute to the whole initiative behind Hacktoberfest. You can also mentor others. So if you are the maintainer of some particular project, or if you are just helping out a particular project, you can try to provide some sort of a mentorship to new contributors to help them understand on how they can get started with that project. So this help might be very small. Someone might have issues with setting up their project on their local machine. So you can particularly help them out in that purpose. Or someone is not able to figure out on why their particular CI configuration is failing. So you can help them out in that purpose as well. And even these things count towards open source contribution. And at last, you can donate directly to these open source projects. So if you think you can better help in terms of monetary incentives, please do so. And that will create a lot of positive impact for the open source community. So if you want to get started with Hacktoberfest, I guess most of you have already started with this theme. You can just go to the website. You can create an account over there. You can choose your particular role. So you can be either a participant or a maintainer or an event organizer. You can choose more than one role as well. And if you're a participant, you can start finding out those particular projects which are looking for contributors. Majority of the big projects are already cluttered. They have a lot of contributors coming in. So maybe you can have a look towards smaller projects, the lesser known projects that don't have a lot of contributors, and you can create a specific impact by contributing to such projects. And the rules are very simple. You have to just raise 4 pull requests, and those 4 pull requests should be either merged or they should be approved with a particular Hacktoberfest accepted label, without which your pull request won't be counted at all. And your pull request should not be invalidated by some maintainer, or it should not be counted as a spam. Because if 2 of your pull requests are counted as invalid or spam, it might be possible that Hacktoberfest will just block you from this particular open source program. And most of you might not want to have a look over the same. So you can have a look over these premium partners. Almost all of them are providing some sort of an incentive with the whole Hacktoberfest initiative. Like if I talk about DeepSource, I have earlier worked at DeepSource, so I can definitely talk about it. DeepSource has a lot of resources about contributing to open source. So they have a particular website called Good First Issues, something like that. And over that particular website, you can easily find all of the issues that are looking for new contributors and that are labeled as a good first issue. So that is a great way in which through which you can particularly find out the issues through which you can contribute to some particular project. And these are the other community partners: GitHub, Freshworks, GitLab, and more of them. And you can also share about this with your friends, with those people who are not very familiar with Hacktoberfest. So I got to know about Hacktoberfest first in 2019. And at that time, I was not very familiar with the whole concept, but thanks to my seniors, I managed to successfully submit 4 pull requests that got merged. And not just that, I also helped out some of my own college mates to contribute to open source. And through that, they got a lot of incentives that are quite specific to Hacktoberfest. So this is all about Hacktoberfest. This is all about how you can contribute to open source to make the world a better place. Karthike, anything that you'd like to add in?
Yeah, so yep. All things are covered by Harsh very well. But again, I'm going very personal on this end. Please do not make our Indian tech community in a very bad manner like previous year that we have done spamming kind of thing. If you're contributing, just if you're making one PR, it's okay, rather than going for 10 to 100 PRs kind of thing. Your contribution just add value to that particular organization or that particular project. Then only that what the concept of Hacktoberfest came into play. It is take a whole month. That's why it's not like that. It can be a one day program also, because you can more you can make 10 PR in a random thing. It's not like that, but it takes a 1 month. Why? Because in that, or if I'm comparing with GSoC also, in initial, you can say in initial months, what we have to understand the whole repository. So take 1 week, understand the whole project, and start looking like that project is for you or not, and then start contributing that to that project. And I think the Harsh explained very well Hacktoberfest in a like a in a very in a quick manner. And yeah, I just want to add, and you can go on for the more for the forward session. Yeah.
Exactly. And adding another thing on it, just to let you know, open source contribution, there are two ways in which you can create an impact in open source communities. There is an additive impact and there is a multiplicative impact. So what does additive impact actually means? So if you're contributing some code, some documentation, some bug fixes or feature request, that is exactly the additive impact that we see. So if you're participating in these open source program, you can exactly see that you are creating a lot of additive impact. You are creating new features, you are fixing the old bugs, you are updating the documentation and all of that. But what is multiplicative impact? Multiplicative impact occurs when you start mentoring new people. So if you see that there are some beginners in that project, you start mentoring them, you start helping them out, and you will automatically see that they have started creating their own additive impact. So no matter if you're a beginner or if you are an expert professional, there is always a scope of work for you in the open source communities. So just go and find out one particular community that you want to work with. You should not worry about the technology stack at the first. You should think about the perspective, about a definite alignment, that whether this open source community is working towards a specific vision that I have an alignment towards. So if you're passionate about cloud native, you can go to Cloud Native Computing Foundation. If you're passionate about, let's say, web development or application development, there are communities like Flutter or React Native. So try to find out these specific communities that you have an alignment towards, and that will get you started in a really quick manner, because technologies can be learned. But the one thing that you should be learning is a definite patience and understanding what is a bigger picture around you. So once you understand the bigger picture of why you're contributing, the process of how will you contribute, that part will become definitely easier.
I think that there is one more question for you, Harsh. He's asking, sir, as I have a basic knowledge of HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and DSA with Python, should I go for this in the manner to gain knowledge, not T-shirt?
So, Vimal, I guess you're already at a very great start. HTML, CSS, JavaScript, these are some core technologies behind web application development and more of that. So, trying to find out those specific projects that are looking for contributors in this particular domain. So, there will be already many projects that might look for some bug fixing or creating some new web pages and all of that. Try to find out these projects and start contributing to them. If you see that there is a particular project that needs a scope of improvement, I personally have a lot of web projects that are simply rotting in one of my repositories that are looking for some help and that are not Hacktoberfest marked. So if you want to contribute to my projects or if you want to contribute to someone else's project that is not specifically under Hacktoberfest, just reach out to them and you can easily reason them out that I want to work on this with or without Hacktoberfest specific label. The only thing that you're looking for is some guidance, some mentorship, and some assistance while you're navigating the code base. And that will be a really good experience. So even after Hacktoberfest, there are multiple open source programs. So there are some university or college specific open source programs. Then there are some particular community specific open source programs like Girl Script Summer of Code, Script Winter of Code, and all of that. So these programs have a lot more incentives than Hacktoberfest. So if you are focusing towards that, you can do well in the same, or else you can take this as a learning opportunity to basically grow in the whole open source community.
Cool. I think that there is no more question till now. And Yeah, there is no more question. Yeah, Harsh, you can go forward with. Yeah, also if possible, Harsh will pin all the. I think so. Rotten Script is one of the project that he's so it's always trending in GitHub pages. I always see when I see trending pages. So Rotten Script is one of the. So you can check them out. I ping the GitHub profile of the Harsh in the after this session. So you can check them out in the description, and you can follow that project. And also Harsh is always mentoring on that project specifically, so you can go there. Yeah, now you can continue, Harsh, over that. I'm just go to the
Sure,
backstage. Yeah.
sure. So let us talk about this particular organization for which this whole session has been organized. So I am the Google Season of Docs intern for Moja Global, and I am mentoring a few of the people over there, along with maintaining a few of the projects over here. And this session is all about knowing what Moja Global is and what is its purpose and what are the various projects under the Moja Global umbrella. So especially since this whole initiative was organized, you might have heard about a lot of the organizations already mentioned on the posters. You might have heard about Flutter or TensorFlow Lite or Apprite and more of that. Mojo Global is a slightly lesser known name, but it is surely creating one of the most impactful projects that is quite essential for our fight against climate change. So without beating around the bush, let me just get straight into what Mojo Global actually is. So Mojo Global is an open source community that comes under the Linux Foundation, and we are basically creating a community of experts that are geared towards developing software for climate change. So one thing that I guess everyone can acknowledge here is that climate change is one of the biggest headache that we are having right now, and it has basically spanned out a lot of movements, a lot of initiatives all across the globe. There are climate change conventions being run by by United Nations and more of that today. So the specific impact that Mojo Global is creating here is that we are developing open source software that is basically allowing the governments, the institutions, and all of the other folks to basically estimate greenhouse gas emissions, especially from the forest, agriculture, and the land usage sector. So this is one of the areas which is quite overlooked when it comes to our fight against climate change. And this is what Mojo Global is actually trying to change. We are trying to make some specific software, some specific configuration that can be used by governments, institutions to basically get started with their fight against the climate change itself. So no matter how many movements or how many initiatives we take forward, we also need some specific systems that can help drive our fight against those specific stuff. And this is what Mojo Global is actually working on right now. So the whole concept of Mojo Global, basically comes after the Mullion Group. So Mullion Group is based in Australia, and it is the original creator of Flint, which is basically the flagship software that is uh, supported by Mojo Global. So for most of the people who are not familiar with Flint, it basically stands for Full Lands Integration Tool, and it is a particular modular C++ framework that exactly allows us to do measurement, reporting, and verification for the land usage sector. So the concept of Flint basically came around with the Kenya. So Flint was originally developed in Kenya, and that was a part of its specific program called the Land-Based Emissions Estimation in Kenya. Its short name is SLEEK, and that was a government-wide program. And to basically move forward with this program, Kenya collaborated with a lot of other agencies. So there was Ministry of Environment, Water and Natural Resources. Then there was the Clinton Climate Initiative, Government of Australia, and more of that. So the whole Flint software was basically designed and implemented to meet the objective that was put forward by Sleek. They wanted to have some software that can allow for the measurement, reporting, and verification of these greenhouse gas emissions. And all of this was basically being followed under the emission reduction campaign under the United Nations Framework for Climate Change, basically the UNFCCC. So this is how the Flint actually came around. And right now, Flint basically is a C++ framework that can be used for a variety of use cases. So we have a lot of configurations coming out of Flint, and we have a lot of country-specific projects coming out of Flint as well. And this is how the whole community is growing right now. So apart from Flint, we also have got some other projects. We have got Flint UI, which is basically a web-based user interface for the Flint itself. So if you wish to run Flint, you have to install a lot of C++ plugins, libraries, and more of that. Flint UI basically allows us to run the whole Flint software on a web application itself. And we can all do that by just running Flint inside a Docker container. You have got Flint Cloud, which basically acts as a software as a service for the whole Flint itself. And you can use it to run simulations on the cloud, basically the Google Cloud platform. And you can use it to get some results by installing and configuring various Flint based configurations. Then we have got some specific country configurations, like there is this GCBM Chile data preprocessing, which is quite specific to the Chile. So Chile has got an institute called the National Forestry Corporation, and they collaborated with the Canadian Forest Service and the Mullen Group, and they basically ran this whole Flint-based system in the Los Rios region, I guess, which is present in the southern Chile. And this is how they used it to calculate the forest carbon emissions that was caused by various activities. So this whole GCPM, which basically stands for Canadian Carbon Budget Model, that is based on the Flint platform, it has been just modified according to the Chilean context. Like we have got various parameters like volume to biomass, disturbance matrices, temperature data layers, and more of that. And this is the whole data pre-processing tool that we have developed, which is quite specific to the Chile. We also have some specific other country specific configurations that are more close towards Indonesia, or we have got around Canada and more of that, which you can possibly take a look at through the organization itself. Then we have got some community specific projects as well. Like we have got the community website, which is basically the front facing website for the whole Moja Global community. So if you're an open source contributor and you want to drive forward the whole Moja Global initiative, you can contribute to the community website, which is currently under development. And right now, me and one of my fellow GSoD interns, his name is Sarthak. We both are collaborating on the same. We also have the official Moja Global Docs, which is the central point of reference for governments, institutes, researchers, scientists who are looking to start the whole Flint and the other Flint specific projects under the Moja Global. We have got the Flint JSON interface, which allows us to create JSON based configurations that we can use to run these Flint simulations. We have got the Flint reporting, which is a reporting tool that is used for classifying the Flint output results so that it is more user friendly for us and it allows us to have a much better analysis report. And then there are some other projects like Flint data preprocessing, Flint example, GCBM Chile data preprocessing, and more of that. So this is the whole context around Mojo Global, what we are doing, and what exactly we are trying to achieve here. So Mojo Global comes under the Linux Foundation, and we have been sponsoring a lot of student outreach program. So if you're a student and you're looking to get started with Mojo Global, maybe you want to contribute, or maybe you want to work on a completely new project or a new feature, we have particular student outreach programs like Google Summer of Code, Google Season of Talks. Then there is the outreach internships that is specific to the underrepresented sections of the society, like women and LGBTQ plus. Uh, we also have got the LFX mentorship program. So these programs basically provide a head start for those contributors who are looking to contribute to Mojo Global in a much more consistent manner. And of course, we have some of these projects open for Hacktoberfest itself. So the Flint UI community website, the Mojo Global Docs, these projects are perhaps the projects that have the lowest bar of entry. You can easily get started with them by providing simple fixes like bugs, bug patches, feature requests, and more of that. And we would be more than happy to have you contribute through these projects itself. So this is all about Mojo Global in short. And if you have any questions, you can definitely put that on the YouTube live chat, and I would be more than happy to take them up. And of course, we have our own point of contact. So if you want to reach out to us through mail, you can use the info@Moja Global so that you can ask the questions directly to the Moja Global members. Then we have got a specific technical steering committee, which basically concerns itself about the code, the development, issue triaging, and the feature building part. We have got mentorship at the rate moja.global, and it is specific about participating in the community, evangelizing about them, sponsoring programs, funding opportunity, and more of that. And we also have got a really vibrant Slack community. So you can particularly join our Slack workspace, and you can easily reach out to us, reach out to the maintainers, the researchers, the scientists, and the policymakers who might be more than happy to have you contribute through the Mojo Global Initiative. And we are not a very static community. We are quite dynamic. So this is the reason why we organize technical steering committee meetings almost every month, where we basically talk about some of the projects that we are developing and some of the things that we have implemented. Like this month's technical steering committee will be all about the deforestation algorithm that we have developed in-house on the Google sponsorship. So it will be one of the next features that we will be building around Flint. And we're also exploring some other areas of development. Like I'm personally working on the blockchain plus the Flint configuration. So basically using blockchain to fight climate change, some sort of that thing. And we also have got some specific working groups. So these working groups are basically geared towards a specific domain. So right now the documentation working group is functional, which I'm coordinating along with my friend Sarthak. And through these working groups, we are basically providing a platform for the new contributors to interact with us almost every 2 weeks. And they can easily get started with fixing things or providing new documentation, articles, blogs, and more of that in a very easy manner. So there is a lot of scope for work in Mojo Global. You can contribute either through code or documentation or in some other specific like community management, issue triaging, helping us with the PR previews and all of that. And we would be more than happy to have you contribute through these scope of improvements. So that is all about Mojo Global in a much short context. So if you have any question, you can just put that on the YouTube chat, and I'll be more than happy to take that up and basically help you get started with the same. So for the people who would like to get started with the Mojo Global specific issues, we have some of the issues hosted right here. So you can check out our issue tab and you can exactly see all of the issues that are marked under Hacktoberfest. Right now, all of the issues are taken up. So I will just create more issues after this workshop. And you can just self-assign those issues by requesting on that particular issue itself. So you can just comment, hey, I want to work on that issue. And no questions asked, nothing given, and you can just get started with the same. We also have some specific issues on the documentation project. So you can just go to the Mojo Global Docs. And this is a repository where we host all of the Mojo Global specific technical documentation. And right now we have a lot of issues open right here. Some of the issues are not taken up by everyone. Like we need to add some more projects to the FAQ section. We want to remove some outdated documentation. We want to add some examples, add a new section, add more documentation, more of that. So these specific issues might be quite easy for the new contributors to easily tackle. And once you have submitted your first good pull request, you obviously can get started with more complex issues. Like maybe you want to do a refactor of the documentation. You want to find out on what specific parts of the documentation that we need to audit and fix out. So some of the contributors working with us are directly working on that. So that is a great scope of work for you to get started with. If you're not that interested in documentation and the website development, then we have got the project called Flint Ui. And this project is a part of the Linux Foundation mentorship program. So we are using Vue.js, Docker, and on the backend, we are using Flask, and the whole code is hosted on the Flint Cloud project. So this is a great project as well if you want to polish your user interface development skill, because we have a lot of things that we need help with, and we would appreciate some new contributors coming in and helping us out with the same. So we are looking for particular GitHub actions for our CI and E2E testing. Currently, we lack some tests. So working on that specific part would be quite easy and quite helpful as well. We have some specific things that are no longer being pursued, but as a contributor, you can just jump in and you can take them up. And our maintainers would be more than happy to have you contribute to the same. On the Mojo Global specific Slack workspace, you can reach out to Shubham or Warid or Shloka and Rajiv who are the LFX mentees currently. So you can reach out to them specifically for any help with these specific parts. So apart from these, there are some other projects as well that I showed you previously. We have got the actual Flint itself, which you can have a look over here. So we have got a lot of issues, but again, Flint uses C++, and a lot of the configurations are actually quite complex. So if you have a good C++ development experience, only then we would appreciate you taking up these issues and having a chance on tackling them around. We have some good first issues here, like making the exception use consistent or mixing the file system handling and all of that. So these are quite easy for beginners, but you have to spend some time in understanding these part and also on how you can get started with the same. So the Flint maintainers are quite different, and they are sometimes not very active. So you have to specifically wait for them to review your contribution if you want to get started with the same. And apart from all of these, we also have a YouTube channel. So since we don't want the people to just fall into disarray if they are not able to set up a few things, we also have the Mojo Global specific YouTube channel right here, where we talk about a lot of things. And some of these stuff are basically around introduction to GCBM, Flint Docker setup, the ROTC model, like these Mojo Global specific models that we have right here. So you can specifically refer these videos as well in order to get started with the whole project and their whole development setup in a really easy manner. So we have the specific playlists. So there is the introduction to GCBM, and this would be a really good way to basically have your intuition about what GCBM is. Then the Flint developer tutorials. This is all about setting up Flint on your local machine, either using Docker or using CMake and more of that. Then there is a GCBM installation tutorials, how the science behind the GCBM exactly works and all of that. So these videos are created by Shubham and by Saloni as well, if I'm not wrong. And these can really get you started with the whole Mojo Global project in a very quick time. And if you don't find the videos quite accessible, you can easily refer to our Mojo Global technical documentation. And we have some specific sections like Flint prerequisites, Flint development setup, GCBM development setup. So these are quite uh, well documented stepwise manner through which you can basically get started with setting up these projects on your local machine. We're also working on a particular documentation style guide, and this is quite specific for technical writers. So if you're trying to contribute to documentation specific stuff, you can refer this particular documentation style guide as well, which I'm working on right now. And I would appreciate any help if you can provide on this specific part as well. We also have our own GitHub workflow, like the preferred workflow through which you can contribute to our projects, how you can basically land your contributions, what are some of the good steps that you should be following, what are some of the best practices, and how you can document the whole thing in Sphinx or Google Docs or PDF files. We have pretty much documented all of these things at this one single place. And after this, we will be having the community website itself, which will be the one-stop place through which we will be giving out a shout out to the whole community behind Mojo Global. So right now we don't have a lot of things because it is still in development, but we are looking for people who can help us document these projects that would be specific to the community website, the blogs, improving the whole user interface itself, because right now it is just using the default Docusaurus template. So if you're good with React, or maybe if you're good with UI development, you can definitely provide us a lot of help on this specific part. So I would be more than happy to take up any questions if there are any up till this point.
Yep. There is one question, a basic question, I think so. Question
Mhm.
is, what to do if the issue can't be solved after being assigned?
So if you are not able to solve the issues after being assigned, all you need to do is to ping me on Slack, and we would be doing a pair programming session. So a lot of the times whenever a particular contributor has faced difficulties, I just keep out a specific amount of time and I just get into a pair programming session with them to basically help them out in the process. So this is the best way in which both of the parties can learn. I can get to drill into my basic knowledge and how well I can explain it to the others, while the other person might get to know some of the new things that might be previously unknown to them. So if they're new to something like, let's say, GitHub Actions, or if they're not able to set up a project successfully, we had a lot of these pair programming sessions where we basically help out the new contributors. So don't worry a lot about not being able to fix these issues. The community is there to support you at each and every step. And we would be the happiest people if your contribution lands on our repository, because we get to feature you on our project specific readmes. And that would be a good way to showcase on how exactly we are creating an inclusive community. So don't worry too much about it.
Cool. And if you can refresh this YouTube stream link, all the things are updated in the description box. I posted Moja Global community website also, Google Docs also, and Flint Link UI repository also. Also, I pinged the Harsh GitHub profile, so you can check out if you want to contribute in Rotan script. And yeah, I think so. I also posted the YouTube channel of Moja Global. Do subscribe to the that channel. You will get, because it's a like a, if you want to contribute in Moja Club, you can get a small help from that also, so that will be also great.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
I think so, yep, I think so. And yeah, I also create a banner for that. You can go to this to subscribe there, and all the things are in the description. Just refresh this page and you will see all the details in the description.
Yeah.
Cool. I think so there is no more question. There's only one question related to issues. And cool, let me check from starting, is there anything or not? Okay, Anjali is
Yeah.
here. Hi, Harsh. Cool. Yeah.
And we also have specific working groups. So I mentioned about that. So if you are particularly new to these working group concepts, we basically have these special interest groups where we basically help out the new contributors getting started up. So we are looking forward to a lot of working groups in the Moja Global community in the near future. But the one that I had set up during my GSoD internship with Moja Global was this particular documentation working group, and it is specifically geared towards people who would like to contribute around creating user story based documentation, or basically creating training material, or providing maintenance on the website development, or helping us promote the community, or coordinating our internal community chat, Slack workspace, mailing list, and all of that. So you can also have a look around the same. And if you're definitely interested in this working group, you can just fill out this particular form that I have linked at the end of this particular file. So if you just open this particular link, you will find most of the information there. And you will also find a short and sweet link for our Slack community invite. So just use that and you can easily join our community chat. And you can definitely get started with communicating with our members and the people who are working on some of the core projects. So there is not much of the selection criteria that we have. We just want to have some of your basic information so that we can reach out to you. And you will be added to our calendar bi-weekly meetings, which happen almost every 2 weeks. And that would be a good way for all of you to engage with us, ask all of your questions, and we'll be having many community members, not just me, but some other people as well, who will help you out in getting your queries resolved. So in the future, we will be having some other working groups. So if you are interested in DevOps, or maybe you're interested in the maintenance part, the support part, we would be having that very, very soon. So just keep an eye on the community and the things that we are doing right now.
Cool. I also drop the link in the chat. I also drop the link in description in a 1 to 2 minute. You can say, you can refresh that
Sure.
also. And yeah, say special interest group are really helpful, folks, because I'm also been a part of TFGS 6, and they are all like any SIG. It can be of any SIG, because SIG is like if you didn't be a part of like if you're not familiar with, you can say, community mailing list. This is a great opportunity. You can meet with other folks who are contributing to that project. And even if you are beginner, it's really helpful because they will guide you on that. And you know what is the future plannings of the whole organization, what they are doing in the next, maybe in the next quarter it can be, or like what the whole planning is going through. So we'll get an a basic advantage over that. So do join the SIG of Moja Global, and I hope so, because it's a new starting group and idea is so much fascinating. If you start contributing to, right now, so it can be helpful for many, like maybe in the 3 to 4 months, you see the this repo maybe in the you can say top 10 or top 50 organization right now. So start contributing because it's totally based on the sustainability. The concept is bringing on the whole sustainability. So if you're contributing over that, it will be really helpful to you all. And I hope so all the things. Let me check again, is there a question or not? I hope so there's no more question we left.
Yeah. Let's wait for a couple more minutes to see if we have more
Sure.
questions. Yeah. I'm trying to find out a specific link. So basically, we had one of the training sessions at the UNFCCC. It is basically the United Nations Framework for Climate Convention. And I'm just trying to find out the link because it is a really great way through which you can, like, it is basically a very long trading session, but it is a really great way to know more about Mojo Global. So I guess I'm not able to find it, but if I'm able to find it, I will just share that on our Slack community itself.
Sure. Also, if you have any doubt, Harsh is also in our Discord server. So again, try to join as much as like join the Slack server of the Mojo Global also. And if you are in our Discord server, Harsh is here. So if you have any doubt regarding after the session, you didn't join, maybe you are seeing the stream, maybe you're late after the stream is over. So Harsh is here. If you have anything, tag him in the Discord server. But yeah, there is one more creative issue in our Indians, like we didn't do a publicly, we didn't ask publicly. So don't DM anyone, please. Do ask publicly. It will enhance your skill only. So yeah. And yeah, I think so. There's no more question. Cool. Like we can wait about 1 to 2 minutes, folks. Those who are listening
Sure.
to us, if you have any doubt regarding anything, in a like a very beginner friend of, because this the whole stream, all the 3 to 15th October, we are beginner friendly only. So if you have any doubt regarding anything, otherwise if you didn't right now have no doubt, so you can go to the Slack server. Again, I will pin the Slack server in a couple of moments. Also, if you didn't know, even though you are not in a part of Slack server, you can, if you are in a Discord server, do ask Harsh is here to clear all your doubts over there. And if you seem like you got interested in this project or in this organization, start contributing right now. Because I must say, if those who are, many people are saying to me how to crack GSoC kind of thing. So it's not like that. Please don't go for. I didn't know why people thought that. I didn't know, but like, be active in community. You will. It's a trick. Now I am just saying a trick. Just be active in community. If moderators or moderator and admins are seeing you, this person is active in it. It can be in coding contribution, in a non-coding contribution also. And if you're trying to that proposal over that, for it's not a like a trick also. Every those who are selected in GSoC, they know pretty much. If you're active in that community, mentors know you, so mentors approaches you, simple as it is. So yeah, okay.
Yeah, so we did not get selected into Google Summer of Code this year, but obviously we had some of the ideas. So some of these ideas are basically looking for some new contributors as well. So if you are interested in pursuing one of these projects independently, we have a lot of resources to basically get you started. Please reach out to us directly on the Slack community itself. And I would be connecting you with the maintainers or with the people who would be running these projects. And we'd be more than happy to have you contribute through the same. So you can find out all of these projects under the projects.md, and you can check out all of the scope of work that we are definitely looking to explore. So there is a scope of work around installation, documentation, notebooks, benchmarking, testing, optimization, and more of that. So some of these projects have actually been completed under some specific mentorship programs like GSoD and LFX and Outreachy. But obviously, we are looking for more people to take up these independent projects, and we'll be more than happy to have you contribute through these.
Cool. There
So
is one more question. There's one more. I know Vue little bit. Is it possible to contribute in this particular org?
obviously, so as I said, no matter how much you know, there will always be a learning curve. So even if you know little about Vue, you know exactly how to write the configurations, you know how to set up the whole project and all of that. That would be more than enough. So the first time you will be just fixing around a few bugs or few issues that you will be coming across. And once you have a definite confidence on the code base that yes, you can now independently pursue it without having to do a lot of brainstorming and all of that, you will simply see that your self-esteem is rising on that code base. You can easily tackle around issues. You can create new features, and slowly and slowly you will see that you will become a definite contributor to that project. So there is a definite learning curve, there is a definite growth curve that comes with every project. So just acknowledge that and embrace that. That is perhaps the best advice that I can give for any open source contributor. Don't get fret out by the complexity of the code base around like how much lines of code it has, or how extensive it is and how many modules it has. It all starts with a simple fix. So it can be a one line fix, it can be a two-line fix, it can be a simple typo fix. But once your PR is landed, you have the confidence now, and you can use that confidence to basically pursue the next few steps. My first contribution in Mojo Global was just removing an import statement. So for people who know Python, there was an import OS that was imported twice in the same code. So I just removed one of the lines over there and it was merged by one of the maintainers. So that was my way of getting started. And now I have like more than 40 plus pull requests on the same organization. So just embrace the learning process and you will be doing definitely great.
Cool. Or again, community is here to you for you specifically. If you didn't know, just ask in a community channel or in a mailing list. Can be Google group or it can be anything. Just ask. Like I am a beginner in this project. I want to get started, but issues are that what I'm saying in very hard. Can you give me any issue for like as a beginner friendly? So they'll always approach you. Like it's happened with me. Again, it's happened with any beginner who are starting with any project. Again, no one is a
Exactly.
like a pro in anything. Everyone is a beginner in some or another moment. So yeah. Cool. Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Yep. Thanks, Preet. All goes to Harsh. I'm just like a,
Hmm?
you can the sidekick of Harsh, you can say. So I'm just
Not at
giving
all.
a, I'm just giving us some of the tips of what I experienced, nothing else. Cool.
Yeah,
Uh, yeah, I think so. There's no more question, and all the links are dropped in description. You can check them out. And cool. All the links are dropped. Yep. Cool. Sure. So yeah, I
cool.
think so. We can end this session and. Yeah, thanks folks for joining. I hope so you got some insights about this, about particular Mojo Global. And I think so you can start contributing right now. This is the time. Those who are thinking, cracking GSoC, yeah, you can start contributing to right now only. Open source is not like that. If you want to crack the Google Summer of Code, then only you can be an open source guy. No, it's not like that. So you can start from now only. Cool. And
Exactly.
yeah, go on, Harsh.
Yeah, so I was saying that yes, it is quite exact. So again, a lot of people ask me as well how to get started with Google Summer of Code. So there is no mantra behind the same. So if you would have taken the example of JEE or GATE, like these are competitive exams, obviously, and everyone is measured on an equal basis. Uh, GSOC or GSOD or Outreach, like these are not like that. There are multiple organizations, multiple different projects, multiple different difficulty levels. So you need to find out those particular projects, those particular organizations that you have a fit with. No one has a fit with almost every open source org. Before contributing to Moja Global or my GSoC org, which is Metacall, I tried contributing to a lot of orgs and I did not find a particular fit over there. So just take some time in finding out that particular fit, contribute for the sake of contributing, for the sake of giving back to the community and learning out of it. And obviously, if you're doing well, you will automatically have the incentives for the same. So there are multiple programs, there are multiple other opportunities that you can capitalize upon through open source itself. Even my current internship came through my Google Summer of Code and Google Season of Docs experience. So embrace all of these open source activities and you will be doing simply great.
Yep. And I must say, like, we are very privileged that we like doing computer science and IT engineering, those who are doing, because we have access to everything. If we are comparing civil engineering, mechanical engineering, they need a hardware kind of stuff, and we are like, you can do easily, but it's just you have to be part of open source, and yeah, you can get so much experience from that. And those people are saying there is no chance, there is no opportunity in engineering. It's not like that. We didn't acquire that skill actually. So
Yeah,
just be a part of open source. Communities are here, mentors are here to help you out. Harsh is here again for Mojo Global to help you out specifically. So do join, do start contributing to it. And on the next day, we are bringing Aditya Oberoi on AppRite on how to start contributing in AppRite. And AppRite also a sponsor in Hacktoberfest, so I hope so you will feel like good on that, and you will got a swags from AppRite if you're talking about swags kind of thing. Cool. Uh, yeah.
cool.
This is the this is the Discord of our Discord server. If you want to join, you can still join. All the links in the chats. Again, we will drop all the things in the again description box. So okay, cool. I think so. There is no more question right now. So cool.
Sure.
Thank you, folks. Bye bye. See you on the next stream on the next like tomorrow only. You can say.
Sure.
So cool, folks. Bye bye. See